Welcome to this jazz guitar lesson in which I'm going to teach you the fantastic Charlie Christian and Benny Goodman tune 7:11. This song, because of its A section, is a fantastic jam number, and many great guitar players have been attracted to it, including Benson, Herb Ellis, Joe Pass, Julian Lage, even Danny Gatton. So, good one to learn about, and the A section is a great place to work on your soloing craft on. Let's start off by having a listen to what the head and everything sounds like once through. So a bit of background to the song first. This is in the key of A flat. Now it is a typical of its time 32 bar AABA standard, and the reason I think a lot of guitar players like it is because it's very riff orientated in the A sections. Even though Benny Goodman is credited on this song, I personally feel like it's a guitar player's song, and it wouldn't surprise me given those influential band leaders back then. They tried to get their names on anything. I can't prove it obviously, but I happen to think it's a Charlie Christian tune, but we'll never know for sure. And the reason I think it's a guitar player's tune is because of these riffs. So the A section, there's a riff in the accompaniment, so rather than sort of chugging away and playing chords, which you might want to do for someone soloing over it, but for the head, there's this bass riff which goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Play that an octave higher just so my tubes don't rattle in the amp. So 1. Now it's important to know if you're going to play the melody what you're playing over, because the timing of that is a bit, well, it's not odd, but you've got to watch out for the fact that doesn't come in on beat 1. That riff comes in on the end of 1. Listen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Or 1. So just watch out for that coming in on the end of 1. Good to try and understand what is going on here as well, I feel. So we're in the key of A flat, so our kind of primary notes, if you like, which is 1, 3, 5 in the key, would be A flat, C and E flat. Root, major third and perfect fifth. And this little riff is pretty much made of that, well it is, plus the fourth. So we've got the root, third, fourth and fifth, which creates When the Saints there. And then you go back to the fourth, and then that's like the call if you like, and then the response is root 3, 4, 5, 1. So this is played by the double bass, but if you were playing it you could join in, say with a bass, maybe play it an octave higher, like I'm doing, or play it down here. But it does make my tubes rattle if I play it there. So you've got that riff happening underneath the melody, and the funny thing is if you look at my chart, the A section, it's just one solid chord of A flat. So you've got 2 sections of 8 bars AA, just all A flat. So we've got that interesting riff there that happens all throughout that A section, and just watch the timing on it. On the original recording, the riff is also used as the intro. You have like the hi-hat going, then the riff comes in the double bass, then the melody comes in on top of that riff. Big thing, just watch out for the timing on that riff. It can really catch people out. It can feel different to say playing over, 4 to the bar swing rhythm, right, where it's really easy to feel where the beat is. If you don't know that comes in the end of 1, it might throw you and you might play the melody out of time. Let's have a little look at the melody, which again is very riff orientated. Remind ourselves of that triad. And we're just going to add 2 notes to that. We're going to add the flat 3 and we're going to add the 6. So those are our notes that the melody is made up from, and it's very bluesy with that flat 3, and it's got the sweet 6th, And if I just play it for you here. That was one A section, and then you would do that again. Now, the first half resolves to the 6th, finishing on the 6th. The second time, the response to that, finishes on the root, so it's more kind of final. Like that. The distinctive feature in that is that flat 3 to 3, the bluesy feel that creates. It's great. And the one thing I would just say is the original recording of this is played at 230 BPM, I think, so it is pretty ferocious. I actually quite like to do a hammer on between the flat 3 and the 3. Just makes it a little bit easier to play. Now the B section on this one is 8 bars again, and it's all made up of dominant chords, pretty typical of the time. And just to say, on the melody front, it's an improvised melody from Benny Goodman on the recording, and because if you listen to the other recordings they made of this, it's completely different. And this isn't uncommon for the time, where you might have a tune which has a melody for the A sections, and then the B section is just some chords with something improvised on. So you can try and learn what Benny Goodman did, but it's pretty fiddly to play on the guitar. And you're going to need some chords for this. We're going to need G7. We're going to need C7. So we're going to get on the A string there. Then we're going to need F7. These are all moving in fourths. And then B flat 7 to E flat 7. So what's happened here is we've done the first 2 A sections in A flat, then we've gone down a semitone. You hear that 4 for 2 bars of G7, 2 bars of C7, 2 bars of F7, bar of B flat 7, bar of E flat 7. What you got to watch there is the harmonic rhythm changes: 2 bars of G, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of F, but then 1 bar of B flat and 1 bar of E flat. After the B section, you're back to another A section. We're just going to go back to that riff. So you would come out of, if I put together all of the accompaniment, you'd go like this: 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 1. B section. Then you're into the form again, but for solo. So AABA, thing to watch out for is getting into the swing rhythm, because you're going between the riff and the swing rhythm, which can be a bit of a challenge, rhythmically, if you're not used to that. And then coming back out of the solo, because you're going 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 1. So you're not playing on beat 1, you're playing on the and when that riff comes back in. So that's something to watch for when you're trying to piece the AABA together. Now on the original recording, that riff keeps going, and later on another riff that's like comes in underneath the soloist, which was quite a common thing in the small band kind of jammy tunes they did in the late 30s. But what people tend to do when they play it after the head is to play chords. Now, playing A flat for 16 bars, then doing the B, then having another 8 bars of A flat, if you were to use a chord for it, I would personally use A flat 6, like this voicing, and just, if I did want to pick a chord, that's the one for me, the shape that I would go for. But you'll get guitar players doing other things on this, so you might get changes inspired by the rhythm changes. And what I tend to do when I play this live, instead of playing A flat forever, is put in some chord changes to make it a little bit more interesting. It's inspired by rhythm changes, so I do A flat to begin with, like, and then do something like this. Then into B. So So it's 4 bars of A flat, then this little move. That type of thing. Now I've got a full comping study that breaks down what I'm doing there on my Patreon this month. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, then you can get that over on Patreon, link in the description. Naturally, once you've got the changes and the melody down, is then to start to think about soloing, and I think this is a great one. Why? Because that A section has that kind of one chord thing going on. It's a really great place to work on call and response and just creating phrases, because you haven't got the threat of another chord change to negotiate. So that's one reason I really like it, and I think it's great to work on triadic harmony like Charlie Christian used a lot of. And I've got a solo study again on Patreon this month that breaks down that kind of approach. And just to say also, the B section, pretty interesting too, because it's just going through the same chord type. So again, it's a good place to maybe work on things like your arpeggios and making those kind of changes, being able to play an idea that works on G7 then goes into C7 and F7 and so on. So I think there's a lot to be learned. A very simple A section and then a B section where it moves around a little bit. It's moving in fourths there, and you've got to go with those changes. So A section is so simple, but B section asks some different things of you. So I think that's a good one to work on soloing. Anyway, I hope you enjoy learning this one. I say it's got a really fun melody. Love the bass riff underneath it as well. Just makes for something a little bit different. And, there's so much to be learnt from Charlie Christian. Such a fantastic player, important player in the history of jazz guitar. I continue to learn things from transcribing him and listening to him day to day. Anyway, if you've got any questions, you leave them below. Don't forget to check out all the Patreon bonus materials around this song. Lots to dig into the Charlie Christian style. Until next time, you take care.